Good morning. Ooh, this is hot, the MacBook. We're live. How are we doing? Sorry about the lack of commentary last night, but it was 3 o'clock in the morning when I finally realized I hadn't been doing anything for about an hour, and it was time to give it a rest. And by then, like, people were sleeping, and like I had to leave the doors open because it's getting quite hot over here. So I couldn't not have a video. So I just quickly slapped together some unused photos and pictures that I hadn't put up on Instagram. And now, as I'm becoming a floating head, it is time for me to get started on, okay, this is getting ridiculous. It's time to get started on some morning warm-ups. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been up for about an hour and a half, like having breakfast, like checking out what's happening online. Really wanting to play video games, watch TV shows, watch movies. I still haven't watched Mad Max. I know it's a bit silly. I still haven't watched it. I really want to play Uncharted 4, like so bad. But I have these games I also really want to play. And you'd think I'd have time, but instead, I'm making a comic book. Now that I'm working on my last page of a 10-page introduction, I'm finally letting go of like this whole... I'll fix that when I get to page 10. I'll have a look at that when I get to page 10. I'm on page 10. There's things about my art. Okay, in the meantime, start drawing. There's things about my art I don't like. Whereas at some point I was thinking like, wow, like this is coming out really good. I've already hit the like looking at my first 2 pages especially, but including some of the art I've produced in the last week or so. I'm already like I'm getting these really nice comments from some of the new 100s, and I'm already thinking like, oh my god, this is just awful. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I can't put this out into the world, but I have to because the 100 days is coming up, and like I want to have something to show, and like knowing when to let go. Like there are certain, there's even one panel comes to mind in particular where I just didn't finish the panel because I was out of time. And so there's one character that still has to be put in there. And so these time limits have been very helpful. These deadlines, like trying to get that page out on a day. I'm sure all of us have seen Kevin toil away in the past year on his work, on his on that comic book he was making. I don't know how someone can pencil, ink, color everything on one day, because I'm just trying to do the pencils, and I'm already finding like I don't have time. Like obviously, like I'm not super experienced making comic books. There's a lot to learn, but like it's insane. I don't know how he did it. So this deadline thing has been very, very educational. It has been for a long time, but like looking back now and like really working all day long, keeping myself motivated all day long, and getting a page done. Even though it's not done, even though I'm not happy about how it comes out, even though there's stuff I'm happy about one day and the next I'm already like, I need to redo that. It's really been a bit of an eye-opener, and like I don't know how else to say it, but I feel like I'm learning so much, and more so still, like I feel like, oh my god, like there's so much I have to learn. And I really want to learn everything, but then I'm like, how am I gonna put out this comic book? in a timely manner. And so the thought, wow, this is very Jack Kirby. I'm not a big fan of Jack Kirby, by the way. He's cool. But it's not really my thing. Yeah, so there's so much to learn. So much to learn. And I really want to put out this comment. Like, I'm also like, there's so much, if you've been following these videos of my 100 days of making comics, there's so much stuff, there's so much story and world building I've done and character building I've done, you know, to make this story come to life. And so in my mind, I'm very much in the future, you know, but in reality, I'm still here in the trenches. And that is very frustrating. Like, it's getting to the point where I'm just, like, it's a good frustration in the sense of, like, I just want to get this work done. Like, the thing I'm trying to say is I'm getting to the point where I'm like, after all this world building, this ear is wrong. Damn you. After all this world building and whatnot, and all the work I've put in, like, I'm at a point now where I'm frustrated that I'm still in the trenches getting the 10 pages out. I want to move faster and faster and faster, but there's all this stuff that I have to learn, and I'm learning it, but I'm getting to the point where I'm like, well, I'd rather just do it and get it out and see what kind of art comes out and not worry too much about it as long as the story gets out, because I mean, it's just one story. Like, I really like the story, and of course I want it to be the best it can, but at the same time, I'm like, I want to finish this story and I want to have it out there and I want to see what it looks like, and I'm sure by then I'll have another story and I'll be a better artist, and maybe one day I'll be able to come back to this story. You know, like, who knows where this story, once it's finished and in people's hands, is going to take me, because I kind of, like, coming out here, it's getting hot. I kind of, like, went out to Barcelona. I'm like, that's it, I'm getting a job as an artist. And I'm still a little bit like, how am I going to do that? Well, this is one of the ways I'm going to do that. But I'm going to have to let go of some very precious notions of some old, like, some mental roadblocks on what it means, what it means to be an artist, like what kind of art I'm gonna put out in the world, and just realize that every time I put art out and I finish something, I'm gonna be better. And so I'm still, like, this may start to sound right now like I am not gonna go over my 10 pages, like I said at the beginning of this video. I am, because some of the art is bad in a fundamental way. Like, it's bad in a fundamental way in the sense that it's become too unclear what is happening. And it's for clarity's sake that I need to step in and fix that. Yeah, I guess I'm saying I'm not gonna redraw everything as is, but let's see. I haven't got much time left. After all, this is day 97. Oh my god. Time for a little break. I've just spent an hour and a half, close to an hour and a half, setting up the second panel, which is way more than I intended, but I decided to change things around from them just having a conversation in a hallway or somewhere. Like, I couldn't figure out where they were, because if they were in the cockpit, it didn't make any sense. because the short-haired guy would be sitting down on a chair, but then what about the cockpit itself? Like, would the chair be turned, like, and then I'm like, nah, like, he's lower. He could be on one of those ladders inside the vessel, you know? So it kind of illustrates that you can move up and down that way, which I thought would be more fun. But then the face, so I decided to import the face from the third page. And so I basically had the structure, erased everything, redrew the face, but the proportions are all spot on. But I was zoomed in too much. And then when I was zoomed in too much, after an hour and a half, I realized, like, why is it so jaggy? It's not supposed to be this jaggy. The resolution is half of what it should be for no apparent reason whatsoever. So I changed that, redrew it again a little bit. That's why it's been taking a little bit longer. But now looking at the page, come with me. You can clearly notice the difference. Like here, it's very thick compared to there. And then I'm already thinking about what I said this morning about, well, I'm redrawing everything. No, I'm not redrawing everything. I'm redrawing some of it. And now I'm like, oh my God. It's like I used marker for everything compared to the new panel. But then I'm also like, I really need to print off some pages because I just don't know what it looks like. Like I can kind of, you know, like this is a little bit bigger than an actual comic book page. So I guess that's the resolution. And so you can see everything fine. So I'm like, so I can work that fine. And maybe this is too thick for my taste. I don't know. But this is the problem. Like I constantly, I end up having these doubts about what my art looks like and if it's good enough or not. And like people say it's fine, and I think it's fine, but then it's not. And you just want to kill yourself because this is this frustration is constantly going back and forth. Like, wow, it's good, it's horrible. It's good, it's horrible. It's okay. Oh, the resolution is wrong. Like it's this constant back and forth for like every single page that is just driving me nuts. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But I'm going to the store because it is 8 o'clock and I need some chocolate or some crisps or something, some candy or a Coke. I don't know. I need some because I don't want to drink coffee, but I'm flagging. So, and I don't feel like having dinner yet. So off to the shop. So just to show you what's happening, I am working on the next panel and I kind of wanted to move up from over here, if that makes sense. Zoom in properly, thank you. So I kind of wanted to take the scene up and keep the length, keep the ladder, the line going. He simply moves his head, he's looking up. And then I'm kind of cheating on the perspective because if you see how he's standing here, I think he would still not be in frame. But let's just say we're using a very special kind of lens. So yeah, so let's draw him in.
Anyone's ever thought of, but I saw this on a blog that I read the other day.
That arm didn't quite come out all right, so I had to move that shadow around a little bit. So here we are on the last, well, one of 3 last panels. Here's a little time lapse of one of them. This page was a difficult one. All of a sudden, instead of being able to stick to my half-an-hour deadline, as I've been doing for the last couple of pages with the odd panel taking a little bit longer, on this page, every panel was an hour to an hour and a half. And I don't know why that was, because I didn't feel like I was having a particular, like just not getting it right like I did on previous panels. It was much more like, it was just hard getting it right. Like the faces, making sure they're the same people on every panel. And there's 3 panels on this page where it's the same people having a conversation. Coming up with this way to make this, to build this ladder rather than drawing it, because, you know, straight lines, they're a pain. And so I just came up with this little way of cheating by using select and whatnot, using the transform tool, choosing perspective and moving the lines around that way rather than drawing it from scratch and then just drawing in the detail. It's a pretty good trick. It's nice. It's nice when you get that feeling when something clicks in Photoshop and you go, oh, but I could just do it this way and it would save me a ton of time. It's nice. I don't do it for everything, but for this one, definitely. Another little hack I did was I copied and pasted in a face from a previous page, erased most of it, and then used the proportions to just go over it one more time. That was a good time saver. One thing that is definitely different on this page is that I all of a sudden started drawing much finer. Once I realized I was on the wrong resolution and I'd been doodling a little too close, I figured like, oh, actually this could work. Maybe not this fine, but like if I get the lines to be a little bit thicker, this could work. So, well, maybe that's why I took a little longer, that I was just going in with more detail rather than the really thick lines that you can still see on the panel above this one. So yeah, overall, pretty pleased how this panel came out. Not so much pleased with the background I invented, but then most of it is going to be covered up with text balloons anyway, because there's going to be quite a lot of dialogue on this last page. So what's left? Just page 10. It's coming to an end. Well, what's left is if you manage to survive that long rambling rant about what to do with my art at the start of this video, what's left is I have some panels that really need to be fixed. There's some really big mistakes fundamentals wise when it comes to clarity and legibility of the panels, where I went a little overboard with all the cross hatching, and they need to be fixed. They need to be either redrawn or parts need to be erased and redrawn. I will look at that tomorrow. Another thing that still needs to be done is there's one very funny panel where there's a whole character missing and there's just a super cartoony blocky Michelin man sitting there. And then well, on this page and some other pages there's still text balloons that need to be filled in. So yeah, but here it is, page 10. Check it out. He nods approvingly. That's some good stuff. Now for those text balloons tomorrow. Fixing up those panels I was talking about. Stop complaining about my art. And add a little bit of gray tone. Oh, it's 2:30. It's 2:30 in the morning. Why is it that as kids we want to make video games, we want to grow up and make comics, and both those jobs are just incredibly hard? Come to think of it, pilot isn't an easy job either, or astronaut.